Hey, you guys. Just fixing something real quick here. Okay, so live chat. All right, let's see. Let's do a. Okay, just doing some. Just going ahead and doing some of the modifications here before people come in, if they choose to. All right. How are y'all doing today? I wanted to just chat real quick. Ooh, see how that happened now. All right. I just wanted to chat a little bit about how uh, comparing trauma dismisses um, uh, what you've been through and how that can actually uh, cause more trauma, and not only just cause more trauma, um, um, uh, compounds trauma. And yeah, let's not do that. Let's not do that. So I'm just going to wait until a couple people come in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. First and foremost, um, I just want to let y'all know, uh, good morning, well, good afternoon. This is Denisha here. I am the founder and CEO of Water to Spirit. Remember, healing is revolutionary. And if no one told you today, you are special, you are strong, and you did nothing wrong. If no one told you today, you are special, you are strong, and you did nothing wrong. I'm going to say it one more time. If no one told you today, you are special, you are strong, and you did nothing wrong. Hit that like button. Again, I'm going to say one more time until you believe it. You are special, you are strong, and you did nothing wrong. And that's if no one told you that today. I want to also let you know that I am very proud of you for starting your healing process. Just starting your healing process, uh, it takes strength, it takes courage, and it takes the gumption to recognize something is hurting and you don't want it to hurt anymore. And that alone speaks to how strong you really are. And if no one told you today, I am very, very proud of you. And I thank you for being here with me today. All right. Come on, you guys. I know we can hit a couple more likes. I will be taking some questions like I always do. Just make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you want to ask me any questions, there's been a couple incidences where some people felt that it was appropriate to be disrespectful and or mocking someone's trauma. And as I state in every live, Water to Spirit will be a safe haven for individuals. And if that means that you get removed, deleted, blocked, and reported, that is what I will do from my subscribers, because they deserve to be able to watch a live or a video, or communicate back and forth without individuals who have no discipline with their fingers and their thumbs in their mouth. And that's just, you know. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about how when people compare their trauma to someone else's trauma, it compounds the trauma and no one truly heals. Recently, an individual said to me that She was only molested. She wasn't raped and trafficked like I was. And it makes her realize that maybe what she'd been through wasn't bad. And I told her, I said, no, you were a child and you were still violated. Um, that does not mean that you were not affected by the situation. You were not affected by what happened to you. And it is it isn't safe for your nervous system. It isn't safe for your own healing process to look at what I've been through and compare and contrast. You went through a traumatic experience when you were a child. Just because I went through, child sexual assault, rape, and trafficking does not mean that um, you doesn't mean that you weren't hurting when you had your own trauma. When we compare trauma, it completely dismisses. It is dismissive. It is a projection of what. Uh, of, oops. It's also a projection of what we it's a projection, in my opinion, of what not to do. What's, well, I've been through this and you only went through that. You shouldn't be. I wish I went through that because that was nothing. That is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It is dehumanizing. It's oh, hi, Freya. It's unacceptable, it's dehumanizing, and it's re-traumatizing another individual. I will never tell someone, for example, just because they were touched in between the legs at 3 years old, that because I was sexually assaulted from the time I was five and trafficked, does not mean that. I'm trying to find the right words to make sure y'all understand that maybe the situation and circumstances were probably a little bit more intense. She had mommy and she had daddy in her life. Yes, she had. Yes, I was. I was sexually assaulted by the time from the time I was five. Yes, Freya. Throughout my childhood, and I was also trafficked by my oldest brother to neighborhood boys, and he was 10 years old, trafficking me to neighborhood boys. I will be posting a video after this of the details of that. I told the story. Um, I told the story on TikTok, but I've been shadow banned. I think it's interesting that censorship is geared towards people speaking the truth, telling the truth, while others can project false ideologies or ideologies that project separatism and trauma. So yes, I am a sexual assault survivor. I am a childhood sexual assault survivor. I am also a survivor of childhood trafficking. Yes. And I tell my story to help others heal. And I thank you for being here. I thank those who are here to support me in my journey. You feel bad for me. You shouldn't feel bad for me. I don't feel bad for me. Yeah, I don't feel bad for me. I think what you're saying is you're sorry that I went through what I went through and no child should go through it. Am I correct? Is that what you're saying? Um, Yes, okay. Yeah, I understand. Yes, absolutely. I completely understand. And I appreciate your empathy. I appreciate your sympathy. I really do. I think now it's time that we as a collective, and when I say collective, I'm not just talking about Black people, white people, Latinos, as a marginalized group of people, I'm saying that we all as humans, as adults, need to do what we need to do to protect children. We need to protect the vulnerable. We need to stop protecting predators. We need to stop re traumatizing victims of heinous crimes. I wrote a poem when I was in my early 20s, and it started with 5 years old and know every sexual position. I knew that my mouth was used for more than just words. And what that is saying is uh, the world is getting out of hand. The world has been out of hand. And I just think that social media, people like you, people like me who are willing to hold individuals accountable for the traumas that they are uh, giving to others needs to stop. And so, Water to Spirit, we're here to build a community. I will be changing, no, 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 not I. We will be changing laws together. Particularly, I'm going to start with the state of Nebraska, where no, there shouldn't be a statute of limitations for sexual assault. There should not be a statute of limitations for sexual assault. So I've created a petition. It's called the Invisible Touch Petition. Go ahead and take I can link that here. You can sign it as well. And I will go live when I address the Nebraska legislature on how they need to vote to change the laws of the statute of limitations. Every rape victim, every child rape victim, every child that was trafficked should have the opportunity any point of time in their life to um, stand in front of the predators and hold them accountable without the statute of limitations. Again, statute of limitations protects the predator, and it is not acceptable. Freya, I'm sorry that your friend died of sexual assault. I am so sorry. I'm sorry about your friend. Um, I will also on the website give people opportunities to tell their stories anonymously that I will also read to the legislature. I will also tell my personal story as well in front of them and hold them accountable. Um, you know, so when we look at someone and tell them, for example, that they should have and could have done more to um, uh, should have and could have done more to prosecute their predator. The problem is there are people aren't acknowledging the structure and the system and how fallible and flawed the system is. From the time I was 5 years old, I told teachers what was happening. I told my mother, I told every adult around. I showed within my actions. In fact, recently, a year ago, I even um, attempted for the third time to prosecute one of my rapists from when I was a teenage girl. And he even admitted in court documents that the sexual assaults occurred. However, because the sexual assaults occurred before I reached the age of 21, where I had the opportunity to prosecute, then that should why the case should be dismissed. So here I am in the state of Nebraska, correct, where a rapist admitted to sexually assaulting me as a teenager in court documents, and The case was dismissed because of the statute of limitations and other things as well. Well, yeah, statute of limitations, and my lawyer just sucked too. But that's another thing. So when people tell a victim that they could do more, what people should say is, why is there a system where the first thing we think of is what the victim should have done or shouldn't have done? That is unacceptable. That is compounding the trauma, that is projecting ignorance, and it's adding to the person's um, uh, pain. It's adding to the frustration. And to be honest, it's unacceptable. So God sent people like me to make sure that these things never happen again. So if I have to stand there and tell the Nebraska legislature that and read my actual complaint of what my predator actually did to me um, in grave detail, in extreme detail. Um, and then at the end, I'm going to ask them if that is okay with you, that this person got away because of the Nebraska statute of limitations. Then the question goes, why are you not protecting women, men, children who have been violated and who have started their healing process? And a part of their healing process is to stand up against their predator. They should not have to focus on standing up against the system who protects the predator, because there are laws that have been put in place to focus on what the victim should and shouldn't do before a specific time. That is completely unacceptable. That is also adding to an individual's trauma as well. Oh, you're all right. That's hubby trying to tiptoe. He's all right. All right, welcome back. Any questions so far? No questions so far? Okay. All right. I am going to be unmerciful. Unmerciful. I am going to show every predator, no matter if it's a person that wears a suit or a tie, a badge, a police officer's badge, teacher, mother, father, brother, uncle, sister, it does not matter. I'm going to show them the same consideration as they have shown their victims. Yeah, going to be unmerciful. Any questions so far? Okay. Again, if you are just now coming in, I am Denisha. I am the founder and CEO of Water to Spirit. Healing is revolutionary. And remember, if no one told you today, you're special, strong, and you did nothing wrong. And I am proud of you for taking the necessary steps to start your healing process. And I want to thank you for coming in to my live with me to just chat about what we can do better uh, to protect um, ourselves and others while we are in our healing process. And one of the things that, if you just came in, we started discussing is compounding the trauma, where we compare and contrast. I'll give you an example. I remember when I was in middle school and a young girl, she was crying because her parents were getting a divorce. And I couldn't understand why she was crying, because again, I grew up in a single parent household until my mother met her now husband, which again, still should have been, it still was a single parent household, but it's another story. My biological father was not necessarily in my life. He was pretty much in and out of my life. In fact, if he was in my life throughout my childhood, I believe my childhood would have been even worse. So um, I just couldn't figure out why she was just so devastated. I was just like, she's like, I feel like it's my fault. I said, well, what did you do? She was like, I can't think of anything that I did. And I said, well, then why are you crying? They're just breaking up. And then she says something. She goes, having my mom and my dad in the same house is what I've always known. And I'm going to come home to just it being my mom or my dad. And I felt sorry for her, but in the beginning, I just couldn't understand. Again, my lived experience was very different from hers. Um, so that's an example of why it's important that even if you don't understand um, someone else's victimization, it's important that if you cannot show empathy, at least show sympathy. And that requires you to listen to hear instead of listening long enough to think that you heard what they're saying, and putting yourself um, before before them, essentially making it about you. All right. All right. No questions? All right. Well, again, thank y'all for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. You all should be very proud of yourselves. And again, have a great day.